Hello, my friends, and thank you so much for joining me. We're going to be doing something a little bit different today. This is going to be called a Creator's Commentary. It's going to be similar to things that you may have seen before, maybe for your favorite TV show or for a movie, things like a director's commentary. Basically, the idea is I'm going to be rewatching old adventures right alongside you guys, and I'm going to be talking about them in depth. So I'm going to go over things like fly choice, water conditions, the rods that I used, what camping was like there, a lot of cinematography. I'm going to talk about, the shots that I took, why I shot them certain ways, and just generally expand upon and provide much more detail to my adventures. If you're watching this on Patreon or YouTube memberships, thank you so much for being here. I so appreciate the support. And if you're watching this on my main YouTube channel, this is essentially going to be a sneak peek to what these creator commentary videos are going to be all about. So I'm providing this one to you guys for free to check out. And if you're interested and want to see more of these, then they're going to be available for $5 a month on both Patreon or YouTube memberships. Link is down in the description below for more info. So check that out. But without further ado, let's get into this incredible river that I'm fishing today. So just as a little bit of background before we get started with the film here, this is kind of the near the headwaters of a relatively large river, and this river is known for really big trout, primarily brown trout, but you'll catch some rainbows and stuff in here as well. So that's kind of the goal today. I'm here with my friend Travis. This is like my number one fishing buddy. We're fishing together all the time. He goes hard. He's willing to wake up at 2, 3 in the morning, drive 6, 7 hours to someplace, hike miles in and fish all day and then drive home at night. So that's, he matches my speed perfectly. And Travis is the guy that actually turned me on to this river in the first place. He went here without me a couple years ago and caught some truly massive brown trout. I want to say 22 inches plus or so, and nice, fat, healthy fish. And he caught a bunch of them. And to catch fish of that caliber in such a relatively small water, I think is truly incredible. So that's the goal today. I have fished this once before, and I caught probably 16, 17-inch browns. Didn't get anything truly huge, but you never know what the day is going to hold, right? Before I press play and get on to this next scene, I know for a fact this really, really cool scene is about to pop up, and it's this distant waterfall up on this mountainside. I come from the East Coast, and I love photographing waterfalls. I come from a landscape photography background. And in the East, you're kind of in the river, you're right up next to them. But out West, it's so interesting. You have these big alpine valleys, and up on the mountains, a lot of times, particularly where there's the cliffs, snow melt and stuff will create these temporary waterfalls that just look so almost mythical to me, like straight out of like the Lord of the Rings or something like that. So this next shot, if we show a wider shot of this waterfall, look for it. It's right up there among the tree line, and then I'll kind of zoom in and show that further. So anyways, starting off with a cool shot in a cool place, and I'm excited to show you guys what this river holds. So let's get started. Beautiful clear water. Guys, welcome. This is going to be a really special video today. I'm spending 4 days in Colorado on a watershed that's known for lots of big fish, lots of big, hungry, relatively unpressured fish, and they're going to be nice sized, absolutely. So I think I'm about to hook up with my first fish here. And just to give you guys a little bit of detail and background on what this shot entailed. So I have 2 lenses that I bring with me typically, a 16 to 35, which 16 is like really wide and 35 is like, still relatively wide. And then I also have a 70 to 200, And that's what I use for a lot of my telephoto shots, more close-ups and stuff, the B-roll that I really like capturing. But here, typically when I'm fishing, I'm using that 16 to 35, setting the tripod up, walking up ahead, starting to fish. But as we were hiking up to this hole, which looked like a really, really juicy, great hole, we were kind of up above the river just a little bit. And I just loved the way this scene kind of looked down into the valley, and you could really, I think it really gave a good sense of the place. So anyways, I set up my 7200 here from pretty dang far away, a good couple minute walk. I'm zoomed in on myself. I run all the way back up there, and I start fishing. And I just like the perspective. I think it's cool.
Ooh, there we go. There we go. Nice fish on the line here. Took a minute in this beautiful hole. I thought I would come across a fish a little bit sooner, but we're on now. Nice thick fish. First fish of the day here. This beautiful, beautiful river. Oh my gosh. We're gonna catch some big ones today, guys. That's for sure. That's a fact.
One thing you might not notice is, everyone always says like, oh, a rod and reel makes the best sound, right? Like that drag pulling it, and it is. It's totally sick, right? But Tenkara really has this like cool thing going where when you hook up to a fish that has some weight to it, and your line is just super taut under a lot of tension, and it's slicing through the water, it's almost like a string instrument where it's making this like kind of squealing noise. If you really pay attention, maybe if you got headphones on, you can hear it in a lot of these clips, and it's kind of an addicting sound. I just love when you set the hook and you got like a nice fat fish on there, and that rod just starts singing, and it's really a thing of beauty. And I think that Tenkara people don't really talk about that enough when we're talking to conventional Western fly fishermen that are like, oh, I just love the reel and stuff. Like this Tenkara sound is really, really quite awesome, actually.
Oh, strong fighter. Nice cold water in here. These fish are so healthy. There we go. Beautiful brown.
Yeah, this is a solid fish here. Solid fish to start the day. Not near as big as they come, but certainly a really nice, healthy fish. He's filling up that net. This is a nice size net, and he's filling it up for sure.
First fish on the board, man. That feels so good. A little on the smaller side. That was maybe, what do you think? Maybe 11, 12 inches or so. And man, they come big in here, though. I'm telling you guys. 16-inch plus fish, not at all uncommon. 20-inch plus fish, certainly a possibility. Haven't seen another fisherman out here other than my friend Travis that I'm hanging out with this camping trip. And man, it feels so nice, so relaxing, peaceful, so much solitude. Just the two of us down here fishing this epic water. The flows are just right. Snow melt is pretty much finished up, but it's ice cold. It's nice and chilly. The trout, they are feeding and they're happy.
Yeah, so the water was really ideal for this particular river. Like I mentioned, so this is a 4-day trip. This is the first of those 4 days. And we're here in late June, I believe, which is a little early for kind of me starting to really, really get into fishing for the season. I generally prefer water to be a little bit lower, just so I can kind of walk around easily and kind of pick apart the water. But for a relatively placid, kind of lower gradient river like this that's kind of flowing through this valley, the nice flows really worked out well. And I think the fish were certainly feeding pretty heavily and pretty happy. But with that said, in the next couple days on this trip, we do end up in some pretty rugged canyons. And one in particular was like a real nightmare to try to navigate through, just with the amount of water that was in this region kind of flowing through there. It was pretty tough. So it worked all right for, this kind of super easy type fishing where you're just like walking along a nice chill bank. But if you're down in some canyons and stuff, that's the reason I really don't love high water. But today everything's good. We don't really have to worry about that. This is a cool catch.
Oh my God. There we go. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Yeah, so I threw that jig. I think I'm using a jig streamer at this point. I threw the jig streamer in, and I saw this fish just come flash up on it like just as soon as possible. Dip back down. I gave it another jerk, and he came back up and hit it. I just love like when you can see a fish, not even like sight casting to a fish necessarily, but like even if you're just blind casting and then you see a fish come for it, and then you miss out, but then you see him still there, and then he comes for it again. I mean, that's just like the best feeling, right? So cool. He's putting a serious bend in this rod too.
Nice fish. He's a little tangled up in my flies here. Come on. Okay. All right. We got him in the mouth, legit. Saw that fish rise up, and I saw the fish, saw him rise up, and then he kind of like moved, and my line wasn't completely tight, so I wasn't 100% sure if there was a fish on there. Decided to set the hook, and sure enough, he had bitten my fly. He's got a lot of weight to him. I'd love if he could like swim upstream just a little ways here. Whoa! Oh my gosh.
Yeah, these willow lined banks are super dangerous. If you're off it even for a second and a fish can makes it to the bank, you're generally going to be pretty screwed. They're going to get tangled up in the undercut bank and the willows and stuff, and they can get off really, really easily. So that's why I was kind of freaking out a little bit here. Like I said, the current's up pretty high, and this guy is kind of using and abusing it to abuse me essentially. So he's really in that current. It's a pretty heavy fish in general, but the fact that he's out there in that faster water, it's just a nice thick column of water moving by. He's got a lot of weight to him and just amplified by that water current. So I really didn't want him scooting over into those willows for sure.
Yeah, nice fish. Real solid fish here. Yeah, dude. Nice fish.
This one probably went 14, 15, I bet, if I remember correctly. Beautiful cliffs surrounding this place. There's that water raging. Oh man. Yeah, I loved this hole so much. I'll just tell you right off the bat, didn't have any luck in it, but both Travis and I fished this particular bend for a good 10, 15 minutes. I think the problem for me being on Tenkara is it was pretty relatively low water and pretty consistent, pretty smooth. So making an approach to it, I think I did spook a couple of fish. I think Travis actually caught one out of the tail end before I jumped in after him. We were kind of going fish for fish. But I think I kind of ended up spooking the rest of the fish in this hole. Sorry, Travis. I love how pretty it looks though. It's just so tranquil. Another pretty little waterfall dumping into the same hole as well. But no luck. So we're moving on up. I've been trying to film more just like walking shots of myself. I think they generally add to the story and kind of give a better sense of the place. When you're kind of in the heat of the moment, trying to catch fish, say the fishing hasn't been super, super hot, it's a little harder to stop fishing to film these B-roll segments, because you have to walk upstream, set the camera up, go back down, and then come on back up, or vice versa. But it's kind of a lot of back and forth. But I really do like the way it looks. I think it adds to the story, and I'm trying to do more of these, just in general when I'm out there, make them a priority.
Back in we go. Some nice willowy undercut banks. There's no reason to believe some nice big fish won't be hanging out in this particular run. Just working our way up slowly with as much stealth as possible. I'm using the Tenkara Rodco Rocky today for a lot of reasons, really. It's thick enough to handle the bigger fish that I could find in this river. It's also long, 15 feet long, so I can really reach out there. This water is crystal clear, and stealth is definitely a concern.
So yeah, the Rocky by Tenkara Rodco is probably my most used rod, which is funny because they really market it for like big fish, like salmon and stuff like that. But I find that this rod is incredibly fun, even with 14, 15-inch fish if they're fighting well. But what I really like about the rod is really its length. It's 15 feet long, and Euro nymphing rods, for example, those are 11 feet long typically. And the idea, of course, is to get that light line over the current and, kind of get nice natural drifts with a rod and reel. A Tenkara rod is essentially a just beefier, more insane Euro nymphing setup a lot of the time. At least that's how I fish it. That's not the traditional Japanese way of fishing it, but my kind of hybrid bastardized American version that really works so well in pretty much all conditions. But this rod's 15 feet long. It's certainly suitable for the size fish that I could come across in this river today. So I appreciate the extra girth and beefiness of this particular rod on this day. But with that said, all you American Tenkara rod manufacturers, I think there's really a sorely missing spot for like a 15-foot long rod that actually has pretty light action. I think that there's plenty of places in little alpine meadows, alpine lakes, if you're trying to fish Tenkara in lakes, where you're not really catching like huge fish, but like having a longer line or having a longer rod and longer line for overall longer reach really would be beneficial. I think that's like sorely needed. Japanese rods do it. There's lots of really lightweight, longer Japanese like Kiru rods, which is basically like a slightly different version of Tenkara. Essentially, that's overly simplified. Don't hate me. But yeah, just to have an American manufacturer make that and have spare parts be easily obtainable and stuff like that, if you don't want to mess with the Japanese stuff, would be, I think, really nice.
You have to kind of do everything you can to not spook these fish. Even with this long Tenkara rod, I still have to get relatively close to these runs. But I'll take, every little bit that I can get. And, another thing I really like about this rod is just the way it commands a double nymph rig. I've got two relatively heavy tungsten flies on here, right? So I've got like a pink Paragon up front and a little like thread Frenchie with a purple tag on the rear. And the rod is like very capable at casting these flies out and just kind of a nice stiff, tight line presentation. And when a fish hits and your line is tight, I mean, it's so incredibly obvious. And a lot of that really comes down to, having a nice stiff rod in the first place.
Yeah, so that's true. 15-foot lightweight rod would be so sick. I wish someone would make it, but I wouldn't necessarily fish double nymph rigs on it. I think the Rocky is kind of the closest approximation of like Euro nymphing on Tenkara because it has that stiffness. You can easily flick around nice heavy flies. I mean, if you want to fish like double stone flies on that thing, it can totally do it. It can fish, tungsten jig streamers very easily as well. And I fish those tight line a lot of the time. But yeah, if I was using those, the hypothetical 15-foot lightweight rod, I would probably be fishing more dry flies or single nymphs, stuff like that. But this rod really is truly incredible for fishing heavier nymphs, and especially if you're fishing two of them.
There he is. Ooh, feels quite nice. Yep. Yeah, nice brown here. Found him right at the base of these little waterfalls. One of my favorite like little features to fish on any water that I'm on is kind of that nice like across the whole stream little rock shelf with the little waterfalls, that kind of diagonal. I find
it's true. I don't know if it's like confirmation bias, similar to like using your favorite fly only and then catching fish on your favorite fly, and now that favorite fly is a confidence fly, right? Well, this is my confidence water feature. Like, it's just like where it's got a diagonal, kind of across the whole stream, a little rock shelf, and then these little waterfalls. And I'll plop a nymph right up at the very head of those pools. And I swear I'm almost always catching fish in features like this. Just like one of my favorite types of features to fish.
Fish are tucked up underneath the waterfall quite often. Very nice brown. Took the thread Frenchie. Love this color pattern. The black, the silver, little purple tag, a little bit of iridescence. Definitely a confidence fly of mine.
This guy put up a nice fight. They just keep going and going in this place. Nice cold water. Yeah, beautiful fish. They've all been pretty silvery so far. Only brown so far too. Yeah, nice shoulders on that guy though. Check that out. That's why he put up that nice long fight. There's our state flower, the columbine. Colorado state flower, that is.
Real cool looking hole here. Nice sharp bend in the river. I've seen a few fish rising. They're definitely in here.
A place like this, like, I don't know if you can tell right off the bat, but this place is just like a churning cauldron of complex currents. I think someone that isn't as experienced, not saying I'm like, pro or anything, but like I fished enough, right? But if you're kind of new to it, you look at this and it's just like a nice little simple current or whatever. But like this in particular, I think with like a dry dropper or like a regular Western rig would be like practically impossible to fish unless they're going to come up for that dry or they're going to come up off the bottom and hit your nymph. But if they're being reluctant eaters, a place like this, it's just got so much swirling around. It's really, really tough to fish. If I was fishing more slowly and like really trying to pick apart each hole, I think the ideal thing to do would be to probably just keep only the Perdigon on, because those things just have they sink very easily. They don't have any resistance. I can't think of the right word quite, but they're unaffected by like the water. They don't get pushed around very easily. So a single fly, something that sinks like a rock, and you could probably bring that through here, with a bit more of a natural presentation, especially compared to like a dry dropper or a double nymph rig.
Oh man, nice fish, hooked up for just a second there. Dang.
Yeah, and this hole really was kind of an enigma. I did hook that one fish. I don't think I'm going to hook any further fish in this hole, if I recall. And you could see them down there, actually. You could see like a pod of, I want to say like 3, 4, 5 of them down there. Looked like nice size. They just weren't having it. And I think the current really had a lot to do with it. Not only were things complex, but it kind of dropped off really quickly, and then that's where those fish were. So you couldn't really get those nymphs down in a very effective way. I did manage to hook this one fish, but yeah, at the time I was just like, oh man, like this hole looked so good. I just couldn't believe I didn't catch any more fish out of here. But that's how it goes, right?
Right in the shallow riffles, right when it drops off into the deeper pool. That's where that fish was. That was pretty cool.
Another walking shot, pat myself on the back. When I'm out filming, it's really kind of all hands on deck, full blown effort all day long to come up with one of my films, for the final result. It just takes so much time. I love filming like lots of B-roll. That's kind of my style. That's kind of one of the things that I really love about fishing, is just getting out there to see these beautiful places. And coming from a nature photography background, I love to film them and show them to you guys. So that takes up probably, 50% plus of my time, I would say, is just filming B-roll and various things. So to add these walking shots on top of it, that's just another thing. So really it has to be like when I'm selecting a place, I want it to be as pretty of a place as possible. And ideally, realistically, I want the fishing to be as easy as possible. I want to be able to catch fish easily so that I can, catch enough for you guys to be happy that I'm still, a fishing channel and not just a nature channel. So yeah, anyways, another walking shot. So I'm happy with that. It is such a cool valley. I really can't say that enough. Like classic Western trout stream type place,
It's getting a bit willowy for now, but certainly still very fishable. Found a nice pocket here. It's been a couple minutes since I've caught a fish, but I think this could be a bit of redemption here. Looks really good.
Yeah, the further we moved up this river, I think Travis and I both had never fished it up this far. So this is kind of new territory for us. And unfortunately, it was getting kind of pretty willowed out. And it actually does split into several other forks here as well. So the water was getting a little skinnier. It wasn't looking quite as prime, but we figured there could definitely still be some nice fish holed up here, but the going was a little bit tougher. We're kind of having to make our way through the river upstream just because the willows were so thick. So I think at this point, honestly, like between that last hole where there was the complex currents and here, I think it probably had been like an hour or two before or since I had caught a fish, actually.
Subtle bite. Oh my gosh. Man, the fish are so strong in here. It's kind of crazy.
You hear that, Rod?
Fun fights. Like I said, nice cold water, healthy fish. What more could you ask for, right?
Yeah, I guess what you could ask for is not breaking off on that fish after a couple hours and not catching one. But again, that's fishing for you, right? Did you guys hear that Tenkara rod singing when I first hooked up to that fish, though? That if you didn't, go ahead and rewind it like 10 seconds and listen to that again, because that's the sound that I'm talking about. That feels so satisfying and is a really, really addicting feeling for sure.
Dang. Broke my line.
I really should be better about replacing and retying line, every so often. I'm like, for bigger fish here, I'm probably fishing 4X fluorocarbon tippet. But after a couple hours of fishing, I'm sure I've scraped it along plenty of rocks, probably gotten out of some willow snags and things like that. And most likely my line was just a little bit frayed. So that's unfortunately why this fish got off. Preventable.
That sucks. Been using the same tippet for a little while now. Probably just some abrasion. We'll tie in another couple flies and we'll go from there. That sucks, but it is what it is. All right, I threw another thread Frenchie on. Just a single one this time. Let's see, the wind has kind of died down. Let's see if we can nymph up some more fish with a little bit more finesse with just this single fly. This one does have a chartreuse tag instead of that purple tag. The purple tag was definitely what those fish were preferring. Fortunately, that was the last one I had, so we'll see if they're willing to bite this guy. Similar pattern for sure, but just some different colors here. It'll be a good test. I usually don't really think colors matter too much. Honestly, I don't really know if flies matter too much other than kind of general shape and presentation, really.
Yeah, I'm firmly in the presentation over fly camp. But I think to expand upon that a little further, I think that flies do matter, just not nearly as much as presentation. Maybe if I was guessing, it's like 80% presentation, 20% fly, at least in my opinion.
Be a good test. If I fish for a while and can't get any fish on this one with the chartreuse tail, yeah, we'll have to change it up for sure.
With that said, also, there's been so many times that I've been fishing and just not doing well, and I'll throw on a stupid rainbow warrior and the fish will start biting immediately. There's just something about that fly in particular. It's so flashy. It just I think it just draws those fish's attention and just forces them to bite. The creator of that fly, Lance Egan, he's a madman.
Yeah, no luck in the rest of this hole, but definitely doesn't look quite as good as it did down here where I hooked into that fish. So let's move up just a little bit more and see if we can find some better water.
Light's getting a little lower.
Insane. If we can't find a fish on this new thread Frenchie, we're gonna have to change it up. Big deep pool, pretty chill tail out here. Some complex rapids up at the top. Gotta be some fish in here, gotta be. I'm fishing right into the sun. It's a little tough to see my line, but
it wasn't a little tough. It was extremely hard to see my line in this water. You can't really see from this angle that I've chosen here, but it was like straight blinding. All the water was, broken on the surface, and that sun was just reflecting and just beaming into my eyeballs. So this bright fluorescent level line that I have on here, I really couldn't see it at all. I was basically just going on a hope and a prayer and just kind of like hoping to feel even a little something to make me want to set that hook.
We're gonna do the best we can. There he is. That's good. They're eating the Frenchie. I'm happy. Oh man. Another nice brown on the line here. Shoot. What a place. Gosh, yes. Sun's getting low, but we definitely still have a couple hours left. You know how it is with big browns, Seems like once that light gets a little lower, that's kind of when they start lurking, when they start becoming a little easier to catch. So I am still very hopeful that we're going to get into some more very big fish here tonight. Oh, pretty spots on this guy too. That's probably the most colorful brown of the day, I'd say. What a beauty.
Yeah, this guy is way prettier than all the other ones I've caught previously, actually. Not too silvery, really cool black spots and nice red spots as well. Spots in those pectoral fins. That's a stunning fish. Not the biggest, but probably one of my favorites of the day. Nailed the release there. Perfect. Ooh, yeah. Oh God, I love this shot so much. So at this point, the things just kind of kept getting more willowed up, skinnier water. The light was getting lower, so we decided to kind of backtrack back downstream. fished some of the holes that we had skipped over earlier in the day. So we kind of busted over some holes to get to a starting point. Then we fished up. Now we're going all the way back down and fishing up for the evening bite. Hopefully, hoping for those predatory evening browns. With brown trout, it's not over till it's over, right? But anyways, we're walking back through the beautiful lush meadows, and there's just this little no-name creek that's flowing in, and I absolutely just love the reflected light. I love how that reflected light on the water surface makes it pop so much compared to the green field around it. I love the shape, the little smooth branching paths. It feels so organic, and yeah, it was just so pretty. I just really loved this shot. I didn't really capture it, but as I was filming this, and I guess I was on a different section. Travis was filming it too. Maybe he was filming slightly further up, but anyways, like a little mouse or vole or something like went swimming right across the pool when he was filming it. So that was kind of neat too. Yeah, just so pretty though. This stuff makes me pretty much as excited as a lot of the fish that I catch. It just really gets me hyped up to see some really beautiful stuff and be able to film it in a way that pleases me.
About an hour till sunset, but my gosh, it looks so pretty in this lush valley. Light bouncing off the mountainsides, reflecting on the water surface. Really pretty. We're gonna keep at it. A little longer here. I'd definitely like to catch 1 or 2 more fish, and ideally something even bigger.
This is another shot too. I'm as a photographer, again, it's not to sound like a broken record, but it's all about the light, right? And just having these little rapids where it's not quite whitewater, but just kind of like undulations, and the way that it picks up the surrounding lit up valley while this water is in shade, I think is just absolutely stunning. So cool.
But nothing this time. Yeah. Let's keep at it. We'll find some more tonight, I promise.
I love this bird singing in the background too. Nice dusk chorus.
Oh my gosh, I just spooked a fish from right in front of me here. Dang, he must have... he was in really shallow water, a couple inches. Oh my God, there was a bite. There was a bite. Pretty complex currents here. Pretty difficult to see everything in the fading light. That was for sure 100% a little bite there. Didn't get a look at the fish. Don't know if it was big or not. It bit quick and got out of there.
It really sucks when you only have like an hour left of fishing, right? And things are really feeling like they're wrapping up, and then you not only spook a fish in a couple inches of water right in front of you, but then right afterwards you miss a hook set on a fish. It kind of feels like that door is just closing on you, right? So that one hurt extra hard, and especially just because it's like dusk. You really can't see in the water as well, and also just that kind of stereotypical idea that bigger browns are going to be biting at this time of night. Yeah, that one hurt for sure. Definitely would have liked to have seen what was on the other end of that bite for sure.
Man, it's been a bit of a tough evening to close out our day here. The water has gotten like noticeably colder, probably 10, 15 degrees colder. It went from being nice and cold, very safe for the trout, to feet numbingly cold. So I don't know if that could have potentially turned them off a little bit, or if something else is going on. But at the end of the day here, we are definitely struggling to find another trout. I mean, these This hole looks really nice, really nice. And I fished some good ones before this as well. So I'm definitely surprised, but you know, in fly fishing, nothing should necessarily surprise you, right? There he is. Oh yeah. Whew. I'm shivering. It is getting very chilly, very, very chilly. I think this is going to be my last fish of the evening. Would have loved to catch one more slightly bigger fish, but we're going to have to settle. We're going to accept one more fish period. That still feels good. Still getting it done out here.
As you guys know, I will wet wade pretty much anytime, honestly. So of course that's what I'm doing here. And I bet the air temps are in the 50s, but the water temps probably went down like, honestly, I feel like they went down like 15, 20 degrees from a little bit earlier in the day. So like I was saying, my feet legit are numb. My pants are soaked all the way up to my thighs, so I'm shivering pretty bad here. I'm pretty dang miserable, honestly. So just to kind of put the nail in the coffin and get this one final fish, even though it was like one of the smaller fish of the day, definitely felt really good.
There we go. One more beautiful brown to end our day on this amazing river. Thanks so much for watching today, guys. Really enjoy having you guys be able to watch my adventures. I hope you guys enjoy it too. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much for watching this first creator commentary video. I'm having a lot of fun doing these. I'm going to try to do, you know, 1 or 2 a month to get a good backlog going and really elaborate on and expand upon a lot of my videos. Again, this first one here on the YouTube channel, this one's just available for free to all you guys. But if you are interested in further creator commentary videos by me, those will be $5 a month. You just have to sign up to either my Patreon memberships, become a Patreon member, or sign up for YouTube memberships. Again, I'll have more info about that down in the description below. But for now, thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll catch you next time.